Hey mini enthusiasts, how you doing? So we're back once again. It's part 27 of the classic mini workshop. So in this week's update we're going to adjust the valve clearances, slightly different on PL because it's got roller tip rockers, so you just have to be a bit more careful when you adjust them, and you have to insert the feeler gauge slightly differently. So the reason we're doing that actually is PL is a little bit lumpy at idle, and I've just noticed it gets worse as the engine gets hotter, so I've got a feeling it might have been the valve clearances being too tight. And I'm also going to do a little bit of a paintwork repair on the rear number plate light holder. There's quite a bit of orange peel on there, so I'm just going to wet flat that and try and get it looking a bit better. And just for reference, if you are doing valve clearance adjustments, on any mini actually, I found a really useful web page. I'll stick a link in the description below. It's by Minimania, and it really does a good job of explaining why the valve clearances are set up, what they are, what to do if you've got roller tip rockers or full roller rockers or a high lift camshaft. So there's some really useful information there. It's only a one-pager, so I'd thoroughly recommend giving that a read as well. Okay guys, so we're going to have a go at adjusting the tappets. Car's got a bit of a rough idle, and one reason for that can be if the tappets are too tight. So I have adjusted them recently, but I think I might have over adjusted them a little bit. There's a technique to use when adjusting them with roller tip rockers, and I don't think I got it quite right last time. So let's get it stripped down, try and make it as easy as possible so we get as much out of the way as we can. Going to take the plugs out so the engine's easier to turn over, etc. So now with the plugs out, there's obviously no compression on the engine, and I'm just going to turn the engine using the alternator pulley here. If you had the plugs in, this belt would probably slip, but with the plugs out it's quite easy to do, and it's easier to get to than the bottom pulley, to be honest. Right, so just quickly, just a little tip that I read online for adjusting the tappets, just to make life easier, is obviously the slot in this tappet adjusting bolts here is quite wide, so most screwdrivers are quite pointed on the end, and what happens then is when you're trying to tighten up the lock nut, as you tighten it up it twists round. So what you want is a nice thick screwdriver end, so I'm actually using a bit out of like a bit set, so that just fits in almost perfectly into the slot, so that ensures when you tighten it up that the adjusting bolt isn't moving. And also, like I say, I think I made a mistake last time I'd done them, because when I was checking the clearances I was putting the feeler gauge in under the front. What that has the effect of doing, because it's a roller rocker, it acts like a panel roller, almost like an old English wheel, so it will go in the gap regardless because the roller helps it squeeze in there. So like I say, I've done that incorrectly last time. I think I've over adjusted them. So what you're meant to do is go in from the side, so that one there you can actually see. So if I go in from the front, it goes in quite easily, and you might think that's right, but if you try and come in from the side, it doesn't fit in. If I roll it in, it will go in. So you need to be careful of that. It's only on roller tip rockers. On the normal rockers it's okay. So the method we're going to use for adjusting them is called the rule of 9. It's very simple to do. So you can count them either way, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So the way this works is you turn the engine until one of the rockers is at full lift, so one of the valves is at full lift. So I don't know whether you can see that on the camera here, but this one here is pretty much at full lift. So let's just double check that. So that's number 3 at full lift. So the tappet we need to adjust will be whatever tappet adds up to 9. So that's number 3. So tappet number 6 is the one we adjust. So that adds up to 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll be adjusting this one here. And likewise, this one is just off full lift, so we'll turn that and try it in a moment. But that's tappet number 1. So to make it to the value add up to 9, we need to be adjusting tappet number 8, which is the very end one there. So 1 and 8 equals 9. So whichever valve is at full lift, you adjust the valve that makes the number up to 9. It's called the rule of 9. So number 3 is at full lift, and we're going to adjust tappet number 6. For tappet adjustment, I think on a standard car they're meant to be about 12 thousandths of an inch. With roller tip rockers, you apply a little formula. So if they're 1.5 roller tip rockers, you adjust them to about 15 thou. You can go slightly wider than that, particularly if you've got a performance high lift cam as well, but this is a standard cam. The rockers are 1.5, so you adjust them to 15 thousandths of an inch, which is obviously the measurement in old money. New money in metric, that is 0.381 of a millimetre. So on that one there, can't get the feeler gauge in. Like I say, if we do it incorrectly, you can insert the gauge in the front. And I think that's what I've done wrong the first time. And you should adjust it just so the feeler gauge moves freely in there with no resistance. It is very, very fine adjustment, which is, like I say, why you need to find a screwdriver that fits perfectly in the tappet adjuster. Because when you tighten up this nut, it will just twist it round. So that's it, that's number 6 done. All we've got to do now is repeat the process. Remember, we started with number 6 because we'll end up all day just going backwards and forwards through them. So we'll look for the next valve that's reaching full lift, which is valve number 1 there. Okay guys, so that's PL pretty much ready for Bewley. It's cleaned up now. Obviously I've done the valve clearances, road tested it afterwards. It did feel much better, but sometimes, you know, when you do bits and bobs on the car, it always feels better when you take it for a drive. Certainly seems to be idling better anyway, so time will tell with that. We'll see how it goes longer term. Another little quick job I'm just going to do this evening is I'm going to wet flat. This is the number plate light holder. So I don't know whether you can see on the camera. I'll try and get it in the light, but it's got really bad orange peel on it. So it's been painted at some time, and they've not done a great job. Got loads of orange peel on it in the lacquer. So what we're going to try is something. So it always seems quite extreme. It does actually. We're going to do what's called wet flatting it. You can see the orange peel there actually. So we're going to try wet flatting it, which is basically taking 1200 grit wet and dry paper, and we're going to flat it backwards. So we're actually going to rub away a thin coat of lacquer and then compound it and polish it back up. We'll probably just use T-cut or something like that to polish it back up. Always seems a bit extreme this. If there's plenty of paint on there, plenty of lacquer, it's not a problem, but if it's a little bit thin, you can end up rubbing through the paint. So let's give it a go and see how we get on. So once you start rubbing, as you're doing actually, it's pretty easy to see where you need to rub away a bit more. So you want to get it all dull like this. You can see the highs and lows on there. You've got to be careful really with the edges, because the edges and the corners, and that's really places where you can rub through. I probably won't bother flatting down the sides here and at the bottom because they're not that visible. It's really just that top surface. It's really visible in the sunlight because obviously it's reflecting light off it, but hopefully you can see that. But we want to get it all dull like that. That's it. So we've got a nice even dull finish on there. I don't think we've rubbed through the lacquer anywhere, so all we need to do now is you need some cutting compound, something like T-cut. T-cut will do it, although it's a bit fine T-cut. You can get a rubbing compound which is specifically designed for it, and if you were doing a whole panel on a car you'd probably use a machine to do it, but we're just going to do it by hand. Finally, we just stick a bit of polish on there just because T-cut doesn't offer much protection. Okay guys, so there you go, that's the finished article. So compared to before, all that orange peel's gone now. It's a nice, almost mirror smooth finish, which is how it should be. And that's it back on the car now, so like I say, no orange peel anymore, looks much better.